Endurance is a much underestimated quality in the Christian life. It is really the faithful acceptance of everyday problems in an attitude of patience, looking at these problems as opportunities to grow in faith. So often, instead, we regard problems as things to sort out and then we can get on with the job of being Christian. But that is not it at all from the perspective of endurance. Our problems are the very material to grow our faith, looked at from the point of view of endurance. Take an everyday example. You call your internet provider because your internet has gone down, and it takes you not one, but 5 calls to get through to them. And when you finally speak to somebody, you are angry. But that poor hapless soul on the end of the line, that customer receptionist, isn't to blame. Even so, you behave stroppily because you're working with a commercial frame of mind. I'm a customer, they're taking my money and giving me a poor service. Somebody needs to answer for this, and this person represents it all. Well, to take endurance seriously as a Christian discipline is to operate with a very different frame of mind. It says that my frame of mind is primarily about seeking to follow Jesus. So what I am to see before me is a human being to be respected, to be honoured, a child of God, precious to Jesus. This is primarily an opportunity to follow Jesus in my way of relating to this person, trusting that Jesus knew what he was talking about in his teaching about not being angry, about not treating others with contempt, about not lording it over others. And guess what? We find out that Jesus does know what he's talking about, because our endurance turns out to be good for us. The blood pressure doesn't rise, we respond rather than react, and we realize a quality of well-being and peacefulness otherwise unavailable. Now you may say, it's impossible to be like this. No, it's not. To say it's impossible just shows us how little we are exercising the muscle of endurance. A marathon is impossible for a couch potato, but with repeated practice, it's a different story. One of the most stunning verses for me in the New Testament is in chapter 1 of the letter of James, which tells us to be supremely happy when troubles come upon us. James writes, "When all kinds of trials and temptations crowd into your lives, my brothers and sisters, don't resent them as intruders, but welcome them as friends. Realize they have come to test your faith and to produce in you the quality of endurance." We are to look at problems as opportunities to grow endurance, because, James goes on to say, when our endurance is strengthened in the details of our everyday life, it will make us complete, lacking in nothing. And you know, James also knew what he was talking about, because he was Jesus' brother and had seen this endurance in his brother through over 20 years of family life together. He would have seen Jesus engaging with family members, customers of the carpentry trade, even perhaps the hostile Roman occupying forces. And in the trials of his everyday life, Jesus verified the way of endurance by its fruits. Once James saw who his older brother Jesus really was, he realized the power of endurance in the events of daily life, manifested above all, James says curiously, by an inoffensive tongue. Again, you may say, I can't do this. And you're right, you can't on your own. But the age-long experience of Christians is that if we take one step towards the matchless goodness of Jesus, that matchless goodness will come running 100 steps towards us to help and strengthen us through the Holy Spirit. So may God bless us with endurance.